My friend Dan, his better half Amy, and Charlie the Wonder Dog came to visit me after my wife passed away, to take care of me, which they did, and for which I will ever be grateful. They elected to stay in the trailer they towed in the middle of a nasty heat spell and whose air conditioning overloaded my circuit, any circuit I had in the house, and that's another funny story. But RVs have the larger one on board waste tanks. One is for kitchen and bathroom sink drainage and is called the gray water tank. The other is for sewage and is deemed the black water tank. With use, these tanks fill and must be drained. Dumping one's tanks is a ticking clock. Driving down the road, your partner says, "The tanks! The tanks! The sensor says they're at capacity. Quick, quick, find a place." This is a horror on a par with Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Hurry before it backs up. The shower, the sink, the toilet. It'll be all over the floor. Now, normally this is a simple, easy procedure. One drives to a waste disposal site where this is done, hooks up a large, flexible hose to the outro pipe of the RV, sticks the other end into an in-ground tank. The black water tank is opened first. When it is done draining, the gray water follows, which cleans out the hose somewhat. The valves are closed, the hose is removed and rinsed out, and one wears gloves during this procedure, waterproof gloves, and the clean hose is then stored in a special compartment and all done. So Dan, wearing cowboy boots, and this part is important, takes the rig to a drainage site to perform this chore. He hated towing this thing, seriously hated it, and the rig, being semi-sentient, knew this. Arrived he at the site, hooks up the drainage hose, fastens it in place, and opens the black water valve. But no rush of black water, because the trailer knows he hates it, and has taken umbrage at this. So Dan, being a DIY guy, says, "Oh, no you don't, trailer." He figures that perhaps there's a blockage in the black water tank. "Here's an idea. I'll poke a stick up there and dislodge that blockage." But let's skip ahead. Let's get to the part where Dan comes home, enters the house, and Amy and Charlie and I call out, "Hey, how'd it go?" Hear this next part in Rod Serling's voice. Imagine, if you would, a car full of angry, drunken sailors on shore leave who have somehow been accidentally transported to a church full of nuns instead of a house of ill repute at which they thought they were arriving. Imagine, if you would, the language from the sailors. Hereupon, Dan steps into view, wearing running shoes. "Why, Dan, why are you wearing running shoes? What happened to your boots?" There is no need to gild the lily here. What happens when a full tank of black water, whose drain pipe is blocked, suddenly becomes unblocked by somebody poking a stick at it? You ever see one of those old movies where the drillers strike oil and the gusher of it spews 50 feet in the air and rains down upon the crew? Now they're all covered with oil and greasy, but they're smiling because they're rich. Leave out the smile we're rich part. Add in the drunken, angry sailors cursing, and Dan also cursing. Stir. That's how it went.